Here's a light beer kind of story about the Judds. In 1983, Naomi and Wynonna had their big break, an invite to audition for RCA Records. Wynonna was just done with high school, and Naomi was, according to her conversation with Country Weekly, doing prostate exams on the guys down at Williamson County Hospital. Don't worry, she was a nurse. Spoiler alert, the audition worked out because they'd go on to accomplish some truly historic things and earn an entry into the Country Music Hall of Fame, but just before the audition, they were nervous. Naomi was really nervous, so, quote, "I went to the bathroom and smoked a big doobie." Officially, Wynonna didn't smoke with her mom, but it's this kind of honesty that at times caused huge rifts between the women. In fact, as recently as 2016, they were estranged from one another. Judd family drama is pretty legendary, often very dark and disturbing, and occasionally redemptive. Occasionally. And then there's Ashley's side of the story.
Ashley has always gotten to be on her own. We've talked about Ashley's the independent one. She got to go out and be on her own. I didn't.
Oh, that comment hasn't aged well. It's Billy Dukes, and name your 3 favorite Judd songs in the comments section below. I like Grandpa, but I'm also really fond of deep cuts like Cadillac Red.
When she's washed and polished and full of high octane.
This video is about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Judds. And let's start with the good. Check out this winning streak the two women had from 1984 to 1990. We confirmed it all. 7 straight vocal duo or group awards at the ACM and CMA Awards. Grammys in the Best Country Performance by a Duo category for 4 of 5 straight years, and 14 of their first 17 singles hit #1. Our friends over at The Boot ranked their top 10 songs of all time, and we're just going to take a few seconds now to appreciate the top 5.
Rockin' with the rhythm of the rain. Why not me when you grow old? Why not me? Like you said to come along. Tell me about the good old days. Sometimes it feels can build every.
The other thing that we can't really illustrate is how good the Judds were live. In fact, if you've got a favorite show or a story, share it in the comments section or just give us a thumbs up to show that you agree with this and that you miss them. When they broke up in 1991, it was a blow to fans, and every subsequent reunion show and tour has been country catnip. The relationship might be a mess, but they're delightful to talk to. True story, I once prepared 2 pages of questions for an interview with the Judds, asked my first question, and never spoke again. Along the way, Naomi overshared a story about a coked-up country legend she came upon early on in her career. Yeah, her publicist shut that one down. It happens, but the truth has a way of finding a way out, especially if you do a miniseries, a reality TV show, write several books. In 1995, an NBC miniseries called Love Can Build a Bridge gave a version of their story. Ashley kind of blew the barn doors off of it with a memoir called All That Is Bitter and Sweet in 2011. The biggest revelations were that growing up she was a victim of incest and abuse. This is all per ABC's reporting in March of that year. So you remember this clip?
Ashley has always gotten to be on her own. We've talked about Ashley's the independent one. She got to go out and be on her own. I didn't.
In the book, she recounts attending 13 different schools and struggling with loneliness and depression as her sister and mom traveled without her. She also said she was exposed early on in life to sex because her mother's relationships with men. For her part, Naomi admits that she was not the greatest mother. In 2016, she told Robin Roberts, quote, "Through the decades, we kind of grew up together, and I'm always telling her, if I'd known better, I would have done better. Why bore the brunt of all my mistakes I made, and we talk about them." The whole family has gone through a ton of therapy, and now Naomi will talk about her severe depression, with the emphasis on severe. In a memoir called River of Time, she shares that she too was molested by a family member as a little girl. Wynonna had documented her abuse in her 2007 book, Coming Home to Myself, already. That was about the same time that her husband was arrested and convicted on child sex assault and battery charges. Oh boy. There's more to their offstage struggles. For example, Wynonna has been real candid about her food dependency and the treatment she's gone through. Naomi retired from music due to hepatitis C, but she's since said that she's beaten it. That's what allowed them to tour off and on in the last 30 years since she stepped away. Then there was the short-lived reality series called The Judds on the OWN network that was really painful for them to film. In fact, that's what drove a split between Naomi and Wynonna. And then there's more. In 2017, Ashley Judd was at the forefront of the Me Too movement with her allegations against Harvey Weinstein. How you view their story really says more about you than them. I mean, on one hand, yeah, there were a lot of mistakes and some really bad parenting. On the other, Naomi was a single working mother who managed to take her kids from a house with no plumbing in Kentucky to California, and then to Music Row, and then to the Country Music Hall of Fame. It's complicated and personal, but also filled with love, and a few of us can relate to that, right? Here's one more story that kind of sums it all up. In 2015, the Judds did a residency at the Venetian in Las Vegas, and during a press conference, Naomi asked journalist Robin Leach what he thought of her dress. And you might remember Robin Leach. He was the lifestyles of the rich and famous guy back in the 80s and 90s. Well, he said, quote, "I'll be really honest, I think it's hideous." Later, Naomi says her daughter came in raging like a bull into her dressing room, followed by Robin Leach. "Why?" she asked. "Because he's going to apologize to you," Robin said. Nobody talks to the Judds that way, except, the Judds. I'm Billy Dukes with Taste of Country. Thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing.